One of the fun things to do at the beach is to go out looking for shells at low tide. As you walk along, you might see something sticking out of the sand, and you bend down and pick it up, only to find out it's just a piece of a shell. You were hoping to find a whole, beautiful shell. And you're disappointed, and you're about to throw the piece back into the sand when something about the pattern or the color catches your eye. It's interesting or even pretty. It reminds you of small pieces of your life that are wonderful to remember. And you realize that partial doesn't mean broken and no good. You put the shell in your bucket so that you can put it on your desk back at work. It will remind you of this beautiful day on the beach where you didn't find any whole shells, but the breeze was nice, and the sun warmed your face, and the seagulls were calling, and you were the most relaxed that you had been in months. It will remind you of this wonderful day, and for a moment, it will bring you back to the beach. Our experiences of God are mostly partial, little bits here and there, but still wonderful and often beautiful. As Paul likes to say, we know in part, in pieces. But even that little part is like a window or a door into another world. That's how computer icons work. Clicking on a small picture allows us to enter in or access a program and participate in something that we can't see at first, like a door. Icon is the word from Genesis used in the Greek Bible, where God says, "Let us make humankind in our icon, in our image." It is more than a picture or a likeness. We aren't a picture of God. We don't look like God. The icon or image or likeness has to do more with the basic qualities of our being or our doing. Paul uses the same word when he says Jesus Christ is the icon, the image of the invisible God. For in him all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell, this tiny person. In Jesus, as icon, the fullness of God was pleased to dwell. Jesus isn't merely a reminder or a picture of God, but the embodiment of God, an access window or door to God. Psalm 8 says, "When I look at the heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established, what are human beings that you are mindful of them? Mortals, that you care for them." If you ever go out on a starry night and look into the heavens, you will be amazed and even taken aback a little bit. What happens inside you when you try to count the stars? What happens inside you when you see a falling star you didn't expect? That sky is like an icon, a place where you step through to a world that had been invisible up to now. And you may feel small and insignificant, but you probably also suddenly feel closer to God, loved by God. What are human beings in the face of all these beautiful stars, that God even pays attention to us and cares for us? And yet God does. That says so much about who God is. What a wonderful experience of a power and a wonder that is outside of us. Even if we expect something special, like a meteor shower that we know is coming, first of all, we can't experience it unless we go outside. We can't stay indoors. And if we do go outside to watch, we don't know exactly where or when one will appear, but we're always excited when we see one. There's one, we shout. And we're disappointed if someone else sees one and we miss it. The wonderful thing is that we don't have to see all of it or every one of them in order to be reminded of how wonderful God is, how blessed we are. One falling star will last us a long time. One small piece of shell, a few crumbs from a table. That's all the Gentile woman is asking. She isn't trying to take anything away from anyone else. She just simply wants her daughter to be well again. And she believes Jesus is the one who can do that. After all, he has been healing people right and left. And she believes that it will only take just a little bit of what Jesus has to offer, and that will be enough. She has faith. She's a Gentile, but she has faith, and she acts on her faith. If she had only believed Jesus could help her daughter, but did not, first of all, boldly go up to him to ask where no Gentile had dared before, and then to keep persisting when he keeps turning her down and saying things that are frankly hurtful. If she had not had that faith and acted on her faith, her daughter would not have gotten well. What a difference it makes to have a faith that she lives out. A difference between health and wholeness and illness. Maybe even a difference between life and death. She believes Jesus heals, and she acts on that faith. And she's right. Jesus heals the daughter with just a crumb, just a piece, even as he later heals a man with only a word, Ephphatha. Through Jesus, the woman gets a peek into God's kingdom, into who God is, the God who made the world and who made her and who made her daughter. But more than just a glimpse, a peek, a look, she gets to experience God's kingdom. Jesus is the icon that shows her who God is. Look for those icons around you, the places that give you a door into what God is about in the world. Take time to pick up and admire the small fragment of shell, and let it take you back to a place and a time that brings a smile to your face. Eat the small piece of bread that we will receive from the table today, for it will remind you of the abundance of God's grace and life. There is enough for all, enough to feed whatever hunger you have, whatever need. To God be the glory forever. Amen.